All right, guys, we are back live. We are going to do some comp analysis on one of our deals. Ollie's got them pulled up. So we're going to kind of jump right in because we want to talk about specifically this property on Monticello Drive that we got under contract that we are working with one of our buyers who's a new flipper. And so we kind of want to show you, kind of pull back the curtain, show you how we do things, kind of, give you a kind of a shorter version of it, of course, but walk you through it. So one of the first things we do is we will pull up, as we're looking at things, we will pull up things like Google Earth, and we will take a look at, what we're seeing here on this property. In this case, we're in the far north Dallas border of Plano. So this technically is in Plano, and we'll zoom in here, and we're looking at this point for primarily, we're looking to make sure we're not backed up to, a big, commercial site or, an apartment complex, especially. Those are big no's. And we'll jump in and kind of just scour the neighborhood to see what's going on, make sure there's nothing that just jump power lines. There's all kinds of negatives that we try to avoid, or if nothing else, we use to get a major discount on the property. So we kind of start there. And then after that, of course, we will walk the property. And then we will do our own, I will do a scope of work. I'll go in and matter of fact, I'll take a checklist with me, and I have it right here, my handy dandy folder. And this is what it looks like. It's called my walkthrough checklist. So you can see here, it's got all kinds of stuff. It probably won't pull up since I'm in my virtual office here, but I've got everything. For just to give you an idea of what I do is I rank the conditions of everything, right? I've got roof, windows, siding, garage door, front porch. I mean, I've got everything on here, guys. This is how I did it whenever I was working with a lot of different groups, flipping houses. Look at the main things: the roof, the HVAC, the foundation, windows. Those are all big, expensive items. Has the plumbing been updated? And I go through and I rank them from good, fair, and poor. And then we give every rehab a grade of 1 to 3. So if it's needing everything, and I mean, it's a gut job and it's, nearly down to the studs, and that's obviously going to be a 3. If it's a cosmetic, what I call, lipstick on a pig, where we're coming in and doing all the basics, which, by the way, the basics aren't just paint and carpet, not anymore, not in the areas we look in anyway. They're still going to be redo the kitchen, redo the bathrooms, flooring, painting. That's basically what we call a cosmetic flip. And that's going to be a 1. So anything between there is a 2. And that way we've got an idea what we're going to spend price per square foot on rehab. In this particular house, Monticello, it looks like a 3, but it's not. This is a home that was basically just left empty for a period of time. So it's a lot of cleanup. The grass is 2 feet tall. The pool is green. The fence is kind of falling down. Inside, it's basically the same way. It needs just some general cleaning to start. And then after that, it's about a 1.5 flip. So it's going to be an easy cosmetic flip. And we're going to take a look now, Ollie. I know you've got pulled up. We're going to look at some comps so we can determine ARV. We've got ARV at this one, I believe, at 618, right?
Yes, 618.
618. So that's current ARV. That's not including the fact that we're in the worst sales time of the year, which is the holidays of 2024.
Yeah.
And we are post-election. So there's been and we are also post a slowdown.
Oh, yeah.
Interest rates and everything else, all the unknowns with the election, wars going on in the Middle East. You got, all this stuff happening, right? And so we're seeing now already the impact of the election results and what that means for 2025. So for this particular buyer, one of our buyers that's going to be flipping this home, it couldn't be better because they're going to be doing the work during the slow time and they'll be on market during the best time.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. Actually, let me show them the property. Hold on just a sec. All right, presenting.
You gonna pull up some comps?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. You can see my screen, right, Brady?
I got it. Yep. So we're looking at this is the actual house right here, guys, that we
Yep.
have under contract. Or no, this is the one on the same street, it looks like.
No, this is the house. So
Oh
this
yeah,
is
okay, that's the house. I thought, well, wait a second.
yeah. Well,
Well, remember the two very odd alien looking pots right there by the sidewalk.
yeah, exactly,
Got to get
exactly.
rid of those.
Yeah, yeah. But this house is very similar to the other comp. We have a comp on the same street, which is like a couple houses over actually. Uh, but yeah, as you can see, the house. I mean, the house is in good shape. As you said, Brady, it just needs cleaning, right? You know, everything looks good. It's just outdated. It just needs
Right.
love. You know, the kitchen is old. Everything is old. Everything is in original condition. You know, you got old carpet, you got all that stuff. So pretty clean home. You know, it just needs, you know, it's dirty, right? But I mean, in terms of the state of it, it just needs to be modernized. That's it.
Yeah, and one of the first things we look at is where are we? What location are we in
Right.
terms of what needs to be done? We are not in a high dollar $1 million neighborhood. A
Absolutely.
lot of our deals are in what we call the lower luxury, where ARV is going to be around $1 million or more. This is
Mhm.
not one of those homes. This is a mid-level, believe it or not. You know, what's happened over the last 5 years in Texas is we've had a lot of influence from you guys up north and the guys out west that brought their money. So what's happened is you've had someone, for example, in California that sold their $3 million home, and
Mhm.
they're buying the same type of home for 700,000 here.
Right.
And so what's happened is now that a home like this, I mean, looking at this, and if you're older or you've been around the block a while, you might look at this house and go, that's going to be 600,000 when at some point. Yeah, that's what's happened is these older homes, these neighborhoods, the pricing
Mhm.
it's leveled off, but it's still really high. And
Right.
so you're seeing houses that 5 years ago wouldn't even be close to $500,000 that are now selling in the sixes. So, and with that is the level of expectation for what's in that home has not gone up with it. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what's crazy is we're seeing houses sell for $1 million that aren't using marble tile,
Yep.
that are using good, nice, clean materials, but they're not, $1 million necessarily materials. And so as we step down even further, then it means it doesn't mean we cut a bunch of corners. Don't get me wrong on that. Still want quality because that's doing it right. But it means we don't have to spend as much on a lot of different things. We may not have to do a lot of different like opening walls and things like that in these type of homes. So this ARV of 618 means that our rehab costs are going to be a lot lower than if this was in $1 million neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's the benefit. That's the advantage of being on the ground, right? Is knowing and the experience, right? It's knowing what needs to be done in that area to get that top dollar ARV. You know, you don't need to buy, the most expensive cabinets here, right? So it really depends on the area. And this is an area where you don't have to do that as much.
Yeah,
Um,
and this home in particular, like I said, we look at everything. We look at the roof. The roof is good. We had a foundation guy come out and inspect it. Those are free. We actually had a regular home inspector. We figured that's worth the cost of
right.
$400 or so to get the inspection done. And those are things we do as part of Flip Solutions with our buyers, and also gives the peace of mind to our lenders. They want to know that people are overseeing this, know what they're doing. They want their money to be safe. They want it to grow, and they want it to be successful. So we can do it again. I mean, that's why we take the time, Ollie, to do these things, because we want this buyer, whether they've got experience or not, to come back to who when they're ready to do another one? Us. We want the lender who funded the deal to be calling us, going, when's the next one? So we're trying to do this as best we can by bringing and pulling our experiences together along with our power team. It just makes this phenomenal. So here's the deal. I had one of our lenders tell me, well, I had to discount this and that because of this and that. And I'll say, no, you don't need to do that here because of how we do things. For example, he assumed that my rehab cost would be higher on this house than I had put it at, but he didn't know that I have sources in which I can save around 50% on big ticket items like appliances, like cabinets, like countertops. So he took the liberty to assume that I'd be paying what pretty much everyone else pays which of course increased the rehab cost on the project. Another thing we have to look at is what you're about to show us are the comps. So when we pull comps, we try to pull at least 3 or 4, and we don't even really look at it if we don't have at least 3. But why don't you show us some of the comps that are showing up? That because my mentality, Ollie, we talk about this all the time. If it's the best looking, doesn't have to be the most expensive,
Right.
but if it's the best looking home on the block when you're done with it, and that's a lot of that's curb appeal. Let me look at this picture you're showing us right now. Right, when you see what we're done when we're done with it, it's going to look like $1 million home, even though it's a $600,000 home, and it's going to be minor things that we've learned over the years to do, like crushed granite and xeriscape landscaping and cedar accents and things that are cheap and easy to do that will make that house pop and give us that top dollar ARV compared to some of the others that might be out there. So why don't you walk us through some of those comps you're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me share another tab. I don't know if you can see, but this is kind of the brochure that we put together for our buyers, or even ourselves, if we want to put it for whoever is part of this deal. Picture of the house and everything. We got property details. We got Brady puts together a recommended upgrade, scope of work, all of that thing, estimated cost, timeline, everything. But more importantly, this is the numbers breakdown, right? So we have the price, which is $395. It's less than 64% of ARV. We got the deadlines, EMV, and all of that. But here are the comps, right? So as you can see, the price per square foot, where it's obviously the most important, the average is 226. And this home, and if you use that, the home, that's how we got the ARV of 618. We're getting the ARV of the comps. We're looking at square footage. Obviously, they should be between 10 years of year build. Don't want to jump too much. Don't want to go back too much back in time. And look at the days on market. I mean, you got 2 of the comps that sold in less than 5 days. I mean, it's crazy. So,
yeah. Now, before you leave there, Ollie, I want to point out something. Okay, you show your average of 226.58.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what brings that average down? Looking at the comp sheet you're showing me.
So this first home, I can see that it's 210, right? So was this home done well? Was this home done in a very cheap way? Was it the reason why the price per square foot is down? Right.
Right.
I mean, let's say this flip was done in a very easy way, very quick way, right? So that will bring our ARV down, and that's what led to the 618.
Well, yeah, and the thing about it, Ollie, is this is what a lot of people don't do when it comes to underwriting. They just take the spreadsheet, do the average, okay, you're good to go. But look at it. That house sat for 30 days. The other 2 moved in 3 or 4 days during the worst. Think about that. Look at that last one. August 29th. What was going on in August 29th? Election. We're right in the middle of the conventions and all the Harris Biden, show that was going on. And yet this house sold, guys, in 4 days. This is what we bring to the table with Flip Solutions. We look at things, we micro analyze it, and we look at it going, wow, look at that. The houses that sold for the highest price per square foot sold less than a week. The one that sold the lowest took over a month to sell. And what's that mean to the bottom line for us? Well, what that means to the bottom line for us is that if we took the average of those 2 higher end homes or higher valued homes, that would put our ARV at, look at this, 641 instead of 618. So now we're obviously looking into the future on this deal. We're going to be in the best-selling season. We have a settled election. We're in Texas. The weather's going to be warmer. All the things are positive. So we can almost extrapolate that, really our ARV should be around 630 to 640, but we're keeping it at 618 because of what the report itself shows.
Yes.
But you have to look at it more than just looking at the spreadsheet. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the sales cycle depends. It really tells everything, right? I mean, if you're selling a home in October or November, but if you're selling it in May, June, a big difference, big difference, and especially now, after the election, after the sales, after interest rate cycle, after all of that. So definitely a very good point to point out, and specifically in this house. The cheaper home took more to sell than the more expensive one. So you got to ask why. It's not a common phenomenon, right? But coming in at $70,000 in rehab, your profit is $150,000. So if you include everything, interest, whether it's you're doing it the conventional way of private money, hard money, you should be left between $50,000 and $60,000 after everything in profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great.
Which is obviously great. So let's jump right in. So this is our first comp. This is the comp that sold that took 28 days to sell. 550, right? But look at the pictures, man. They look like it's
just click on that picture right there, the pool picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what jumps that off at me right off the bat. Now it's hard to tell here, but I'm guessing this is what we call a pool backyard. There's no backyard here.
There is no backyard. Yeah.
If there's no backyard, then you might as well just take 10% right off the top. First of all, you're cutting your buyer pool down by 50%. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, people like having a pool, but they also like having a yard for either the kids to play or to have a dog. So when you have a situation where the whole backyard is a pool, you've cut your buyer pool down significantly, in my opinion. It doesn't mean we don't buy a deal like that. It doesn't mean we don't flip a deal like that. It just means we have to get a better deal on it when we go to buy it, because you're going to have it's going to take you longer to sell it. And it's also an expensive part of the project because you never know. I mean, Monticello, the house we're talking about, has a pool, but it also has a yard around it. So there's a dog run, there's grass, there's areas for kids to play and have the pool. So it's a perfect scenario. But yeah, so that's the first thing that jumps off at me is the pool. There might be a little grass on the side of the house somewhere, but otherwise, I mean, you can go in and see within literally a handful of pictures what you're dealing with on this house. And actually, this is one of those that we call a comp that's good news for us, even though it's sold at a lower price per square foot.
Right.
You could tell as he's flipping through these pictures, they didn't redo the fireplace, they didn't redo the flooring. The staging is awful in this house. It was basically, it looks like somebody just left their own stuff there. You got different types of flooring. I mean, look how horrible that kitchen is. There's nothing about this. I mean, look at that backsplash under that vent hood.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, it doesn't even flow, guys. I mean, you got a wooden vent hood and funky flooring. It's hard to even describe, how.
Yeah. I mean, who was the designer here? There's so many things that don't go together, right? The wood in here, the wood here, the white cabinets, the whatever it is. But
you got modern countertop and kind of a modern look cabinetry, and then you got a traditional, almost Spanish looking backsplash. Yeah, it's simple and clean is what people want, and that's a little weird. This bathroom, they didn't even redo the cabinets or the countertops. Look at that. That is the original old countertop sink.
Look at this. This is the old.
Yeah, I mean that's 70s all the way.
Right.
Again, this is how you do this. They didn't open up the house. So if you look at that room you were just showing us, Ollie, that's part that should have been opened up into the main living area. That's more like the sunroom. It looks like in this house. So that's kind of keeping the house, the living area and all that stuff really tight and cold and closed in. So yeah, it doesn't take long, guys, to go through and go, well, this is why they were on the market forever. And this is why they only got X amount per square foot. So this is not really a comp. It is in terms of being a recent sale, but it is not a comp. These people didn't do anything like what we will do to our house that's in that same neighborhood.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, I don't even know what that is. That's literally one of the most ugliest laundry. They put all the effort into the laundry room. I mean, it's you don't need to do that in this neighborhood, guys. You don't need that. So that's terrible. And there's a good picture of the entire backyard. So that's it. You got very old pool. Everything about that pool's old, maybe in good shape, but who wants just a pool? So there you go. There's why the comp was low. So we can take that comp and discount it. I wouldn't even use it, honestly. When we go back to resell the home, we probably won't have to anyway, because there'll be other houses that will have sold, over the next 3 or 4 months that we can use as a comp. And guys, pricing, by the way, is not going down. Pricing is going up. Even during the slow season, pricing didn't really go down. It did a reset, right? So pricing was going like this, and it came back down and it reset. But now over the last year or so, we're seeing in Dallas, the pricing is continually going up like it should be. The real estate market always goes up, typically 5 to 6% a year or more. In areas like Dallas, we're going to see that be higher and more aggressive. So in 4 or 5 months, when Monticello goes on the market, comps won't have gone down. Comps will have gone up even more. So we got another one we're looking at here.
Yes, absolutely. Before I go to the other one, Brady, I just wanted to say, look at this. This is the house here in the middle, right? All of the houses around it have a backyard or front yard, or at least some green space in the house, except this one.
Right.
Except the one here, actually, Monticello, this one here. So, and most of them, and a lot of them have pools and backyards. So that is definitely a disadvantage it had, being the only one with that one in the neighborhood. Now let's jump to the other one, the second one.
Okay.
This is 2333 Clearage Circle.
And this is one of the ones that did better price per square foot, right?
Yes, much better. The other one that we looked at was 210. This one is 231. Right off the bat, you can tell.
Yep.
It's a new chimney, right? It's a new fireplace, or at least they painted it. Brady, why don't you walk through them? Walk us.
Well, you can see, very first thing I see, they did the beams, they trimmed those out in cedar, which makes a whole huge difference. You can see that wall's been removed, so
Right.
they've opened up. That's that type of sunroom I was talking about on that other house. In this house, they opened up the walls, and they did it in a way in which it's not expensive to do. They've redone this. Looks like there's no popcorn ceiling. We got really not. Look at this bathroom compared to the other one. Look at this, super clean, nice. It's not over the top. There's not a bunch of color. It's nice black and white, mostly white, neutrals. Great job. Kitchen. Here's what's interesting about this. They opened up the home, but they retained the cabinetry, right? So they did cut a corner here. It looks like they popped on some new countertops. They even left the old backsplash, which we wouldn't do that. But again, they know in this area you don't have to do everything. So they didn't redo the cabinets here. They redid the countertop. They added their cedar accents on the ceiling, put in some new lighting, and they got away with it, to be honest with you, because the rest of the house is nice. Again, they have a pool, but if you look past the fence, they got a yard, right? So they got a yard for the dog run. So this is definitely a good comp. Nice staging, nice and clean, even though it looks like they kept some of the old flooring too.
Right, but the staging is different, right? The coloring makes a big difference. The other one, the furniture was very old. It looked like it was the old furniture.
Yeah, right.
This looks new.
Oh, by the way, my wife is a interior designer and a stager, and so staging is absolutely critical for selling houses. Just as a side note, but look, here again, they left the old bathroom. You can tell that cabinet's been there since the 70s. The countertop, and so they again. This is good for us. This tells us a couple things. One, we don't have to necessarily do everything we thought we might have to. They did open the home, so they did an open concept on it. They did new painting. They did update some different things, but it's cleaner and nicer. It was staged really well. So again, if they're getting to whatever it was, 235 or a square foot, we should expect to be able to get that same kind of return if we do the same kind of things. So nice yard, not much curb appeal, to be honest with you, on that house. But they did it. It's nice and clean on the inside. So that tells us we're on the right track in terms of what we're gonna do the house. Let's go on to the next one.
Absolutely. Uh, the next one is the best one yet, highest price per square foot, and it's done. It's honestly my favorite one out of all of them. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this one has got great curb appeal. I love
yeah,
the coloring.
exactly.
You can tell the new front door, new flooring. They've done all the right things here. They've
Even
gotten top dollar.
the,
You know, I love the flooring they did in there. They staged it well. They got new fans, new lighting, um, nice fireplace. They retiled the fireplace,
yeah,
which you got to do. They opened it up. That back room behind the fireplace is opened up. Yeah, I mean, this right here is what you want to copy. This is when you're looking at comps, this is what you're going to emulate. And if you do it like this, you can make a pretty good assumption and logical deduction that you're going to get the same type of results. Okay.
right,
This is how you do analysis. This is how you do underwriting. This is how you look at comps. So we've taken 3 comps today. Look at that kitchen. Clean. I love the lighting. They use brushed nickel, which is making a huge comeback. New cabinets. Those look like they're IKEA type cabinets. So
right.
they're not super expensive, but they're clean and nice. Same thing here. Look at that master bathroom. Now that's killer. Great. Love the color.
Wow.
I'm not a big fan of the enclosed shower tub, but that's a big fad. But again, it's nice and clean, big tile on the walls and on the floors. They put their money obviously into the master bathroom, which, you know, that's really what you got to do. It's got to be the kitchen and it's got to be the master bathroom. That's where you're going to get your bang for your buck. You know, so we could kind of wrap up at this point on this one. Ali, I want to kind of talk about how important it is that we look at this the way we've done at these houses, because you can see such a huge difference between this one right here and the other 2. And when we do a fix and flip ourselves or our buyers, we're not doing it like the first 2. So don't give me those comps for my project.
Absolutely.
Our comps are going to be more like the one you're looking at right here.
Absolutely. I mean, just one small point, Brady, is that this house, the most expensive one, doesn't even have a pool.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a pool. So they outdid all the other ones that had a pool.
Exactly.
Because they did it right.
Exactly. Right.
Awesome, guys. We will be continuing to walk through projects like this so you guys to see kind of how we do it. This is what we enjoy doing. Stay tuned for more.